People who get on networks and they feel that they'll be able to close deals are not networkers, they're hunters.
Yes.
And I keep saying this about a brand and a personal brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room.
Yes.
It could be good or bad. That is your brand.
Yes.
It's not what they say in front of you.
Yeah.
So you've got to walk the talk that they say the best things about you.
How did the first client come? Was it through a network or was it?
I think serendipity. It's not planned.
Okay.
So without thinking, something in me just spoke up and said, I have an agency, can I pitch?
Okay.
I don't know what made me say it. He's okay.
So you didn't actually have an.
I didn't have an
as a
agency.
proper
I had
agency
no
at that
idea about what advertising is or branding is, or I knew I was very good at bad jokes,
Okay.
at puns and stuff. So I built a campaign on puns,
Oh, nice.
and I went back 2 days later and I won the account.
Would you like to share more about this new project?
Yeah, so it's called Unlimited. The name has been
Yes.
revealed. It of course is in
It
the
is AI.
In a simple form, it's basically using AI to unlimit your life. That's
Okay.
basically in
That's
the name
one,
itself.
In one line, what
That's
it is.
in a line. So
what
for
was
me,
your why?
my
in
why
that?
is I wanted to dance at my grandkids' wedding.
Wow.
When my kids are grown, I don't want to be a burden lying around
Yes.
when somebody has to look after me or
Yes. So how important is the good looks as an entrepreneur?
it's not even about looks. I think it's about what you say, how you measure
Yes.
your words, etc.
Yes, yes.
You come to a point in your life when you want to take a moonshot.
Yes.
And the definition of a moonshot is it's got to be exciting, one,
Yes.
got to be scary,
Yes.
and has the potential to touch 1 billion lives.
Yes. I also want to ask you about the networking side of business, because I came to know about you mainly through BNI. You are you used to be a very active member of BNI. Now, before we even get into the topic of networking, how important is to know the right connections in the industry?
I mean, almost every industry, the network is so critical for an entrepreneur on multiple fronts. I'll start with the simplest one with your clients to be resourceful.
Yes.
That you go beyond the call of duty. One of the things when somebody comes to you and you just bill and finish, that's a transactional relationship.
Yes.
But if you can help them when they have a trouble with an insurance guy, for your travel guy, you want a printer,
Yes.
so any help, your kid's birthday is there, so one, having a network where you are the go-to person, you've seen
Yes.
as a problem solver, you're the guy, I've got it, don't worry,
Yes.
and I'll send you. So
Like
that,
they
I
will
think,
come to you for everything.
for everything, right? So
Right.
it could be your clients, it could be your friends, your family. I think one, to be networked is to know everyone and is to know who's the right person for the right the job.
person,
I think that's
yes.
one key aspect of networking. Second is most things are a degree or two of separation.
Yes.
Clients which you want, and good networking is reducing that degree of separation. Is
Yes.
constantly meeting enough people, and at the same time, I feel there's a fine line where balance.
Okay.
That you're not just networking.
Yes.
Where you're not just going for any event and giving your business card and collecting business cards is not networking.
Yes.
So that's spamming, I feel. and you've also not got to be easily available is what I personally feel.
Okay.
Even within my networks, you shouldn't be everywhere because you've got to have time for yourself,
Yes.
time for your family, time for everything else. But a good network is when you've got people for a resource pool. Second, people who are smarter than you.
Nice.
Who teach you things, who you can mentor, you can mastermind with. And then, of course, I think the third aspect is business,
Okay.
not right on top. That business is a slow burn. People who get on networks and they feel that they'll be able to close deals are not networkers, they're hunters.
Yes.
So you've got to spend time, I think, building that trust, building the confidence. It's like an actual marketing thing, right? So if there are 10 people, why you?
Yes.
Why is the confidence
Yes.
that you're going to? And if a person feels that they refer you, and because of the reference, the third person will call and thank the person who referred.
Yes.
That's good networking. That you've got a reputation enough to say that, if I connect him, my client is going to feel happy I connected them. That's the ideal
And
brand
that's a
to
trust,
carry.
right?
Yeah.
It's like I will never recommend somebody until I trust 100% that they are going to deliver what you're doing, right? So it's both ways.
Yeah.
You have to deliver.
So you got
versus-
to add on your personal branding by the network.
Yes.
If
yes.
it's reducing from it, then there's not the right network. So you've got to be very, very careful with your
Careful
personal
with
brand.
it.
Once you build it,
Okay.
you've got to guard it for life. And
Yes.
a network can grow that.
Yes.
And I guess the other thing I've learned in a network is your integrity matters. You've got to show up as you are,
Yes.
not project an because it's a long term, right? You're not going to meet them for
Once or twice.
Yeah, a network becomes a way of life when you have a way of being, and your ethics, your integrity is what you walk is what you are.
Yes.
There are no secrets, there are only levels. So you bring a DNA which is very pure, and that's when you build a goodwill, I feel. When people trust you, and I keep saying this about a brand and a personal brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room.
Yes.
It could be good or bad. That is your brand.
Yes.
It's not what they say in front of you.
Yeah.
So you've got to walk the talk that they say the best things about you. And also you've got to have a set of what are the values you're projecting. So if I'm at a network, what is my personal brand? It stands for example, wherever you network, if they remember you and don't remember branding, is also a problem.
Okay, so you have to connect your
core
aspect. Core with your business.
Yeah, so core aspect with your business, and there's a set of values around it. So if it's passion, for me, I feel passion, enjoying what I'm doing, a balance of work and life, and being very connected with myself are my personal brands, which I feel will come across without me trying.
Yes,
and that
comes naturally.
That should come
to
naturally.
You, right? Yes.
And then the innovation, creativity is what will plug into this. And being someone who understands business and people can look for mentoring also helps your core business. Yes. So that's when your personal brand and your business brand is got to have that overlap, which is very large.
Yes.
Otherwise, I know people who are very visible, but people don't remember them for what they're there for.
They just know Sajith probably, but they don't know what Sajith
does. What does he do? What does he actually do?
Then it doesn't make sense, right?
Then you're wasting a lot of effort and time. So your ROI has to be very
clear on what is the
At the
reason
same time, you
there.
can't be there for the ROI. So it's counterintuitive.
It's a very thin line between it, right? Like how do you promote yourself versus how do you become of value to that particular network you're in? And now, like, you have been in the business for 21 years, and initially when you started off, how did the first client come? Was it through a network or was it through some other means?
I think serendipity. It's not planned.
Okay.
So I was in Dubai. I was working in a company, and so I studied product design. I worked in packaging. Nothing related to what I'm doing now. And a friend of mine who was from India, who knows me, he had moved here, and he just randomly called me saying, "Hi, we should catch up." And everybody, I got your number from somebody. I don't have friends here. So we were talking, and he mentioned in passing there's a radio station launching in Dubai. He's joined in that company.
Okay.
And then I said, very good, all the stuff. And then he said, no, we met all these big agencies, and I'm not quite inspired by their work. I missed the stuff you guys do in NID where I studied.
Okay.
So without thinking, something in me just spoke up and said, I have an agency. Can I pitch?
Okay.
I don't know what made me say it. He's okay.
So you didn't actually have an...
I didn't have an agency. I had no idea about what advertising is or branding is. So I went, and that is now today City FM. City FM was launching, and I went for the brief. They gave the brief. I went, bought my computer. I bought a book on advertising, and then I went back and I said, how the hell am I going to do it? And I knew I was very good at bad jokes, at puns and stuff. So I built a campaign on puns, and I went back 2 days later and I won the account. So Idea Spice was born on the back of it.
Yeah. Okay. Now that's an interesting story. I didn't find it anywhere.
It's a very random.
I was researching a lot on it. And so that is the very first client. And is that when you decided to officially start as an agency, when you got the project?
When we started, no. In fact, I was asking for advice from people around. Most people were doing advertising from a media perspective because media was big money at that time. Gift and promotion was very big, so everybody advised me to do gift and promotion. Printing production was big, doing stickers and t-shirts, so everybody advised me saying
to go
down that route. Everybody said we're talking Sony, Samsung, the big brands are good. So those are all the advice
that you got at that time.
So at that time I said I'll just start, and along the way I started realizing that Dubai was blowing up. It was just the beginning, 2002. The whole
bubble was starting.
It was itching. There's something is going. It's like a volcano which was sort of ready. The little rumble is starting.
Okay.
And around that time, all the MNCs were starting to come into Dubai. And over 90% of Dubai are the SMEs, and these are all traders who've been there from before. Who've come in 40 years, the tradition, this thing, who are sending it to different places, old manufacturing guys. So it's made up of, you go to Knife Road and you go to all these, and that time DIP, etc. weren't there, or Jablali, people buying, selling, the textile market, Mina Bazaar. These were old school
traditional business.
And I realized that this is a large industry which doesn't pay for design, who doesn't understand what the hell design is. The printer will come for a card, they'll tell the printer, कुछ बना के दे दो, and that is how it
whatever
was.
they give, they just
give,
accept,
and you're printing some what do you call a 40 fill card, and in that you get a brand for free.
Yes.
That was the market.
Logo free when you print the card with us.
So in fact, if I had done market research, I shouldn't have opened it, right? If you do market research, nobody's paying for this.
Yes.
So I decided to go after this market,
Okay.
which nobody wanted, because the big agencies, they wanted the MNCs.
They wanted the higher.
And for me, I don't know if it was good or bad or whatever, I wanted to make a real difference. And I'd done design, and I went to business school. So I went to NID and I went to IIM. I did a 1-year program for the MEP. So I wanted to combine both
together.
And though I'd done product design, so there's a process, and now they were talking of this. So it was creative thinking, and can I maybe build in a coaching model to this, and if I can add value to these clients, and then as we started speaking through our network, there were a lot of second generation of these guys, and all of them had sent their kids to UK, US, who were exposed to it, would come back, would try and make a change. The father and son wouldn't see eye to eye. The dad would think the son is trying to blow up money, and I felt there, if I can become a bridge
between
them, make sure the son doesn't blow up money, but he gets value, he grows the business, he rebrands in the right way, attracts more customers. If I can be that guiding star. So we went down that route where we worked with these entrepreneurs, son and father, and we would build for design but talk about coaching, work with the senior management, and that started growing, and we found that's a niche
that you could explore.
So we don't need to go this printing production, and I didn't want outstandings. And the moment I realized also, we did all that. We also expanded our business into fit out, and I went that route. But when you're a service industry, and let's say you're like a McKinsey model for the SMEs, and when you're doing this very transformational relationship, and the moment they start haggling with you on a business card or a t-shirt gone wrong or your interior nails not happening, you become a vendor. So at least for us, we realized the relationship would completely change to what is happening with this rejection, not paying for it. So we said, let's just focus on our core area, and that's how it was. So we got into this branding route for this market, the SMEs.
Okay, so more than a vendor, you turned out to be like a coach for those companies,
like a friend,
right?
coach, advisor, someone who's got their best
like
interest.
a consultant for this.
It's like a family doctor, no? So you can call for anything.
Who they can call you for.
The kids remember the father. Everybody's.
That's nice. And did networking help you in reaching those audiences at that time?
For sure. I think it's important that with the network you could educate. Because you're meeting them constantly, and it's a more complicated thing to explain that it's branding. So you can't just go and cold call. So you can't call and say, do you want a brand? I'll come and do it. Doesn't work from cold calling. I can't drop a flyer. I can't send mass email. So it's got case studies. So I've realized that networking is where you educate people like they're going to be your salespeople or spokespeople. I wouldn't say salespeople. I would say your brand ambassadors. So if I can train enough people as brand ambassadors over a slow period of time, where they understand my values, I can share enough case studies, then they will be speaking about it.
They will automatically become your brand ambassadors.
And the best brand ambassador, people who say, don't ask me questions, just meet him once, or just go to their office once. So that is the ideal way of marketing. And that works for your network as well as your client, where your client should say, you have to work with him. So I think it's a combination of both. So yes, my networks have been instrumental in so much in terms of marketing, opening doors
to different new clientele. And how did you come to BNI? Like, how did you decide to join a network like BNI, and how has that journey been?
Vijay and Anuradha had just moved to Dubai, and they were launching BNI, and someone had connected, and they came to the office in the early days when they were just starting off. And I spoke to them, and there was a chapter called Falcon, which met at that time.
That was the first chapter in
Dubai, and at that time met there was a hotel which is not there anymore, under World Trade Center. So I had gone there, and I found it really fascinating because there was a group of people. I was very nervous first because it was a mixed profile. You're watching
that time
from
networking
there.
Was not so much.
Nobody knew.
Right?
There were, I think, 12 or 14 people in that room, and a lot of them were visitors also. And it seemed really interesting. It was a mixed nationality. It was very diverse industries. I was sold on the spot, and unfortunately I couldn't afford it then. We were a startup. And though back in that time I couldn't afford BNI, so I told Vijay that it's really good, but at this point I can't afford it. And I forgot about it. And then again I bumped into, I think it was Phil Bedford. At another networking which I'd gone for a training, and he said there's a new chapter launching, why didn't you just come by? And it just sort of happened again. And I was always sold on the concept.
Okay.
Because the core idea of having a group of people and only one from one industry, and everyone's got your back, and everybody's going to be your brand ambassador, and understand your business, spend time going deep dive, and then speak about you, and also become your best friends and hang out together. I think it's a no-brainer.
Yes.
It's something you have to do if you're starting your business, you're established, you're really big. At every scale, you've got to have
that network
a
of
network
people
around you, and who are all focused on this thing of giving.
Yes.
Which also I loved about this whole thing of BNI. It is, the core concept is to help others.
Yes.
And not expect anything back. And that philosophy was brilliant.
And that is how you decided to join.
Yeah.
And I think when it comes to BNI Insomniacs, you were like one person, like I think the strongest member of the chapter, because I saw recently and you had to leave, and that is another shock which all of us had.
Sure.
So would you like to share about that as well?
I mean, it's a way of life. I mean, there's no question at all. I mean, it's in your blood. So not only in my chapter, the idea was to connect. I've helped to launch chapters because I believe in the concept. I felt enough people have to see it. I was involved with, any event which has to be organized. Yes, I put my hand up to volunteer because I believe so much in the concept. Or I believe, not believed. I believe so much in the concept.
Yes.
That it became an integral part of it. And yes, it helped me personally. Most of my best friends have come out of it. My network has come out. So it became a way of life. Recently, there's an idea which I've been toying with for many years. You come to a point in your life when you want to take a moonshot.
Yes.
And the definition of a moonshot is it's got to be exciting, one.
Yes.
It's got to be scary.
Yes.
And has the potential to touch 1 billion lives.
Yes.
And very rarely you come across an idea which you feel you found your purpose. And then you don't act on it, is a shame.
Yes.
So when that came in, and I've been in the back of the scenes doing a lot of groundwork to make this happen, the research, the technology, bringing people together. So when all those aligned, I realized that now I've got to zero my focus completely, because it's going
onto it.
in the next 1-2 months, it's going to really drag me into
it. So you'll be working a lot on that new project.
So I have been working, I've been managing my time, but now it's also about managing Idea Spice and this, because Idea Spice is my baby, it's a passion, it also drives all this. So I wanted to clear out my time. That is a core thing, and there's going to be a lot of travel, and very soon, once the launch happens, fundraising, global expansion, those are all in my mind. Now it's about how it pans out. So it was a tough decision to actually take myself out from any place which is taking away focus, and maybe I also felt that I think I built a personal brand which will run me through a little bit to continue giving business to Idea Spice, because I think that DNA runs. It's very difficult to eradicate that. I believe we are top of mind for branding.
Yes.
And now from our office we have 3 people in BNI.
Oh yes.
So it's a way of life.
Yes.
Idea Spice as a brand is there. So it is about maybe a break, or about
because you want to focus on this new project for a while. Would you like to share more about this new project, what's coming up?
Sure. So I guess in as vague a way as possible, because it is still under apps, and I've just sort of
I saw the video of Unlimited.ai.
Yeah, so it's called Unlimits. The name has been revealed. Since the URL says Unlimits.ai, it of course is AI. So in a simple form, it's basically using AI to unlimit your life. That's basically in the name itself.
In one line, what
that's
it is.
in a line. So it's basically about manifestation.
Okay.
So it simplifies being able to see your dreams clearly. So it helps you design your future.
Nice.
Most of us, I've been researching, and even with clients, with myself, I'll give another way of looking at it. So I did the trek to Kilimanjaro.
Okay.
So you start seeing the mountain in the first day itself. You can see it clearly, and even if you get lost, you can see that
mountain is
there.
So the goal is there.
The goal is there, and you get lost, and you still come through. And usually, and on the last night when you're trekking, you go from the base when you don't see the mountain, and you start at night, and you're trekking. And early morning around 6 to 7 is when you reach the peak.
Okay.
And 70% of people are actually turning back just when you're about to, but they've given up.
Okay.
The oxygen level goes away, etc.
Okay.
So for me, that analogy is very similar to life, that in business or anything in life, in education, and for kids, if you don't have a long-term vision, and that burning clarity will take you through everything.
Yes.
If you don't see that Kilimanjaro, if you get, like many of us in business, we start off cash flow issue, this issue, then you forget what you set out for, and we get
then
stuck
you are
with
sucked into the day-to-day of
and
the
most
business.
people give up when they're just about they're
the
just
golden
around that
spot.
place. So, and I was studying this concept. I looked at it and I started seeing that things like gym memberships.
Yes.
In Jan it shoots up.
Yes.
80% finish off in Feb.
Yes.
New Year resolutions, I think it's 91% which people don't go through. 40% dropouts, US
Yes.
university. So the statistics, and again 90% business failure rates, the startup industry, all these statistics are about failure. And if you look scientifically, it's a core idea is not having clarity.
Okay.
And again, every coach speaks about it, etc. But this thing of vision board in the book Secret talks about it. If you just cut out something from a magazine, I know you guys also did that. It doesn't make it happen unless you emotionally also have played it in your mind.
Right.
Seen it, believed you can, and your subconscious triggers
Yes.
your reticular activation.
Yes.
So what I'm working on is something which is almost like a fun Spotify version of doing it in a very fun, easy way.
Nice.
In under 5 minutes, at least
5 minutes a day. It's something.
no, within
like that.
5 minutes you can design your full life.
Oh, nice.
And then it uses AI and data science to break it down
very nice.
and work with your subconscious, make it into a film, your own life. It plays with you, breaks
How
it
do
down.
you
into
visualize what you want to be?
what you want to
something
do.
of
So
that
yeah,
sort.
so it's a lot of research gone in. All the AI learning was for this.
Nice.
So finally, when I've cracked the whole core
Or concept of
and
it.
I've done the language modeling, everything myself. So now it's getting
Time
ready
to
for
take it
getting
out
built.
to the
Yeah.
world.
It's getting ready for the launch now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when can we expect it to
So
come
around
out?
end of May is when the beta is coming in.
Coming
So
out.
a lot of people are registered for the beta.
Beta
So
version.
initially it's testing with a few people, friends,
Nice,
family.
nice,
It's a core group.
Yes.
And then June bigger launch,
will
and
be
September
launching
is the next.
Oh, very nice. I really look forward to see that. And so do you every year set goals, and do you have
all my life? In fact, I think
manifestation?
everything in my life has been. I've lived my life through manifest. That's where the whole thing started.
Mhm.
So in fact, when the book Secret came out,
Yes.
there was one chapter about this guy. There's a little not chapter. There's a paragraph which talks about this guy called John Ashraf.
Okay.
So in the US, he's in this palatial house with mango orchards and stuff, and he's with his son, and he's opening some boxes.
Okay.
And his son asks him what's in this box, and he takes out and he sees his vision board. He blows and dusts it and then shows it to the son, and then John Ashraf starts to cry. He just breaks down and cries, and the son is asking him, why are you crying? You're looking at this, and he realizes that long ago, 8 years back, he cut from a magazine this house which he stuck on the vision board, and he was staying in that house
Okay.
without realizing it, and he realized the
Oh,
power of
okay,
it.
okay.
So it came on television. There were interviews on this. So I wanted to reach out to this guy. I reached out to John Ashraf. There was a program which they had called One Coach.
Okay.
So I went through my coaching program, worked on myself. A lot of my coaching stuff started from there. And again, Tony Robbins' book. So I would follow these. My whole weight loss,
Was also part of
I
it.
lost close to 30 kilos through having clear goals and working it backward. At least for my life, every single thing has been manifested. Every car I bought is bought on that specific date. Every holiday, if I look back at my vision boards, the picture of the hotel I've stayed in without realizing has been there. The EQ for my children, what they're doing, their achievements, the magazines where her work has been featured, the clients I've got, the people I've attracted, is all, I've got these pictures which I have it framed, and I brush my teeth. I can see it subconsciously
Every day.
and I keep changing and updating because
Okay.
as you age,
Yes,
things
your
change.
vision
At this
also
stage in
needs
life,
change.
the fancy car is not an excitement. I want to change the world.
Yes.
Or and I had it long back. There'd be an app, or I do this, or I do stuff with my mom can go and make products. So
Okay.
a lot of the things we've spoken about
Was a result of
things
your
which
manifestation.
have stuff I would probably have manifested, and that's where the quest began. So if it's working, and there are people I've spoken to, like you speak to sports people who visualize the sport the day before, and that's the secret that mind coaches teach them, or film actors who've written a check, and how come it's not
Yes.
out there? Everybody knows about it. It is a buzzword. It is the fastest growing buzzword currently. Also 15,000% growth on Google, the word manifestation.
Yes.
5 billion views on TikTok. So why is everybody's is working on products that are very tacky, cranky, or it looks like a very spiritual thing. It's not made to be scientific, at the same time fun.
Yes.
So that's the
Beauty of manifestation. Very nice. And you also mentioned about your fitness journey, right? And that manifestation even played a role in that. I'm sure the fitness journey would have also brought in a lot of other changes in terms of discipline as a life. So would you like to share more about that journey
sure.
as well?
So I guess fitness was a fantastic analogy for being able to put your mind to whatever you want to achieve. Like for example, when I spoke earlier about manifestation or anything you decide, one, you've got to have the discipline, you've got to change a bunch of things.
Yes.
And then there is a whole bunch of programming which we have from the past, how our parents have eaten or what we have seen, or people making fun of you and why you this thing. And we have friends who also ask you that what's the use of living if you can't eat or do stuff, and who goes to exercise and this and all that stuff. So when I looked at this whole aspect of fitness, one, of course, it is a big wake-up call that I remember I was just 30 years old at that time, and I had this back problem, and I had gone to Pondicherry. Okay. And there's a friend of mine, his dad does this chiro thing with the hand. He's in the ashram. And I was there with, and a whole bunch of my friends came, and we went for a walk into a school, and there was a hockey game going.
Okay.
One side had kids, other side had all these men who didn't have their shirts on, no shoes, and they were playing full speed against these kids, and all of them are 70.
Oh,
so these ripped muscles, running fast, and it was like a film kind of scenario. And I was there 30 there for my back, and I'm looking around, there's a track and field happening, and this again 70-year-old lady was a coach taking the kids for a run. So that whole Oroville place is of course probably is blessed, but everybody was so fit and cycling, and that was one wake-up call saying, you've got to change a lot of stuff. So I looked at, I think everybody in my family probably has cholesterol and overweight and not into fitness or sleep habits. So I said, let me reprogram all that and just start by myself, whatever it takes, and take it chunk size. And the same science of manifestation. Where do I want to be 1 year, 2 years, 3 years? And this doesn't change if you don't have a big why.
Yes.
So if I say I just want to become thin to wear my wedding suit, the day you do it will stop. Or I want to run something. Or if you have a short-term event, you tend to put weight back on.
Yes.
Or if I say I'm on a crash diet, I've done that. Once the diet is over, you go back.
Yes.
So it's got to be a way of being.
So what was your why?
My why is I wanted to dance at my grandkids' wedding.
Wow.
So I wanted to be there. And the symbolism of it is, when my kids are grown, I don't want to be a burden lying around where somebody has to look after me. Or so I want to be the healthy guy who's out there, who's running around and actually possibly dance at my grandkids' wedding as the fittest dancer or the coolest dancer. So it was a way of life has to change.
Okay.
If your why has to be to that. And then it starts to spin. Your confidence, your clothes change, how people perceive you. And then you start to see that you're eating healthy at home every day. Now my wife is also doing the same thing. Kids are eating healthy. It's not like I am on a diet. That is how we eat.
Okay, now it has impacted the people around you as well. They also became healthy.
And more friends of yours. And earlier, say for example, your friends would make fun. Then I would eat and go to their house.
Okay.
So after a point, they make salad for you. So I guess it's just about making sure that you know what you're doing it for.
Okay.
You don't want to impress. I want to dance at my grandkids' wedding.
So you're just waiting for that, right? So you have the right reason. Okay, that's nice. And now you also mentioned about the way people perceive you once you have achieved that. It's not even about the achievement. Probably somebody new is seeing you who's never seen you before you lost the 30 kg. So there's a perception around people, right? So how important is the good looks as an entrepreneur? Like when you walk in the room.
Without sounding not from a body shaming aspect, but I guess your energy and your aura changes.
Yes.
So that is a key. This thing, of course, you can pull that off.
Yes.
I mean, without losing weight, you can. But there is something about the amount of energy which you have.
Confidence level also.
No, more than confidence, it is your lethargy goes away.
Yes.
Your alertness comes up.
You become a very energetic person.
Yeah. So when even if I was overweight, if I'm in the treadmill, there's a dopamine kick in which happens. If you're doing a little bit of weight, you're building your core. Your posture changes.
Yes.
So when you walk into a room for the first time, there is at the end of it, your lot of your communication is without speaking.
Yes.
It's that aura energy around you.
Yes.
So I think it's more of that, which I also feel can be achieved there. So you could be overweight, but if you're physically active,
yes.
If you're playing a sport, if you're meditating,
and
if you're eating
have the right
healthy,
energy around you.
So that comes across, and it's not even about looks. I think it's about what you say, how you measure your words, etc.
Yes. And I'm thinking like maybe once you have lost the weight and I've seen your photos in some of the modeling also, right? You did that as well, and so that also improves your confidence as a person, right? And when you walk into a room and you're trying to close a sale, probably as a business owner, that impact also might have come, right?
So I don't know, but I wouldn't have perceived it that way. So I guess in a way there is also, maybe I'm lucky, there is a side of me which is probably not perceived my own looks or my confidence or success. And I guess that's also an advantage of, or you have people around you, I would say your family, which keeps you solidly grounded.
Yes.
And I guess if you have anything which you achieve, and if you feel you have it all, then your hunger goes.
Yes.
And second, you come across with an aura where you are arrogant.
Yes.
So I guess I haven't sensed it.
Okay.
So the modeling thing happened by chance. My client who owns the bespoke thing M2M, he convinced me. I wouldn't have thought of it. It happened by chance. I don't know if that has affected my confidence at all, but I would say for sure that I feel a lot more energetic. I feel, yes, my clothing changed.
Yes, and the whole discipline around your life also, right? So
and the moment you're doing things with discipline, also you start to clear up time. And when you have a discipline, so for me, I wake up at very early at 5:15. I'm out of the house 5:45. I'm on the gym every day in the morning, because evening something always comes up.
Yes.
And you're in office
you
early.
finish it off first thing in the morning.
So when you're following a discipline, then you start to get time to do a lot of stuff. When people ask, how do you do so many things? I don't know. It's just, I guess when you follow discipline, it becomes actually easy. It's counterintuitive.
Yes.
It's effortless. I'm doing the same thing. I'm not changing it. And then you start to get time for being with the kids, or playing PlayStation, reading a book, writing a book, doing this, being in networks, watching films, going grocery shopping.
Yes.
You should be able to do all that. If the more organized you get, the more you can do these silly things.
Like, how does your usual days look like?
Yeah, so it's disciplined and fluid. So I don't work late.
Okay.
I mean, none of us in the office, we don't encourage people working late. We don't work in the weekends, but in the day it's packed. It's packed, and along with a lot of fluid time. So there is a lot of design time, which is also organized and put in.
Okay.
So at least my personal feeling was that inspiration shouldn't come when it comes. You should be able to learn enough to make it come on tap.
Come on time. Okay.
That you should be able to decide that now I'm going to design, and at that time I should be able to design. So I guess that, I mean, I can sit in Auto in India and
the
design.
time for that, like, on your
so
calendar.
I know that I'm fixing meetings. Even when I was in BNI, I would have Tuesday 11 o'clock and Thursday, so I would have 2 1-to-1s and fix with that. And it would be slotted into it.
Oh, nice.
And usually Tuesday evening I would go for my shave, because next day was BNI on Wednesday morning. And mornings would be gym, and I'd leave the office on this. And evening we'd go for a walk sometimes after dinner with my wife, or we'd watch Netflix, and we know that we're not going to surf. We'll watch from this time to this time, and we'll sleep
and you sleep on time.
And weekends are super lazy. It's nothing.
Okay.
It's a nice thing of nothingness. And me and my son play PlayStation, video calls with my daughter. She's in Spain now.
Okay.
So it is a combination of meeting clients, and we also look, am I adding value to that meeting or not?
Yes.
So I'm actually quite fussy about my time. Is this a network which I should go for? It's an evening party. Should I go for that party?
Okay.
If I don't feel like, now I've started saying no. I've learned to say no without hurting people.
How do you do that?
So I guess one is making sure it doesn't come across as arrogance, saying sorry.
Yes.
It's explaining why.
Yes.
And if you don't want them to call you again, to explain that, look, I'd love to, but it's not my scene, or this, or I'll come for something else. Or if I'm missing a birthday party, I'll send a gift with a handwritten note.
To make sure that your care is
that I care.
It's just that you don't have the time to be everywhere, right?
And it's not fair on myself, I would say, more than anything else.
Yes, it's not fair to burn out and not take care of your own health and go be everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, before we close the session, I would like to know, what is one advice probably you want to give to especially those who are into branding side, who want to start probably a branding agency? What is one advice you would give to them?
I think one of the best things I've read, there's a quote by Steve Martin which says, be so good that they can't ignore you. So I guess if you constantly keep improving your skills, that it shouldn't be anything else. It should be one, your work has got to constantly evolve. You got to be super good.
Yes.
And as a branding or even any creative agency or any service firm, it's client first. It's not about you. And it's not about pleasing the client. And I think I've learned that if you just tell them, yes, don't worry, at the end of it, the relationship in the long run won't work. It's doing what's right for them.
Yes.
And understanding the objective and being the best at giving it. And for me, I feel that it's not about following by the book saying, so many hours. Sorry. that making sure the relationship is not transactional, it's transformational. So anybody who touches your life should leave learning a little bit, or do, if it's a friend, it's a client, it's a vendor, you've got to have touched their life in some ways, my personal belief. So never transactional, always transformational.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being on our show today. And I'm sure all the listeners would also have enjoyed and learned quite a lot today in this session. Thank you so much for listening. Do not forget to subscribe to our channel. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Very nice.
No worries.